the chat room or whatever it was first thing this morning, that is one of the things that the web minister and those folks are looking into, is how to make the whatever it is that we have more user friendly, so that something gets put there and then it gets spread out.
Right. So right now, what we have at the Kingdom level is we have the Kingdom website. On the Kingdom website, there's this thing called forums, and it functions kind of like, oh, thank you, Carrick. I just saw your email. Woo!
That he's got a new deputy.
Does she know this yet?
I got her to agree to something. This is like,
yeah, I was like, I gotta put in a letter, don't I, to do this? Or is this
No,
like my official?
Not for a deputy.
Not for a deputy. He can just
I don't think their excellencies will object. So yeah, no, it's done.
So you're deputized. Anyway, so I really, and on the Kingdom level, we have a Kingdom website. The Kingdom website has this thing called forums. It took me 30 minutes to find when I was told we had such a thing. So if you sign up for this forums, it works a lot like the old Yahoo groups, and it will push emails to your email account. The problem is it's kind of hard to find. And
it's not user friendly.
It's kind of clunky, yeah. So what the web folks are talking about today is potentially continuing to use the forums, which I was told, I think Edric told me we had it since like 2004, maybe? I know we've had it a long, long, long time and nobody's used it. And
the other, oh, sorry.
And so they're going to discuss whether, because some people are really love that baby. That is their baby. They want to use it. But there's also other things like Google I/O. There's meetups. There's other things that we could push official messaging to for folks who are not going to use Facebook.
Can't the forum problem be solved by just positioning it so that it's more accessible? I mean, is that just a...
I haven't used it enough to know. So that's what they're going to discuss. Just so you guys know. What was that?
I said the forums are now linked from the main page. There's, if you go to outlook.org, there's a link right on the main page. But the latest post in the forums was 6 months ago, and before that it was like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's one about Alberon and under events. So the latest posts have been really, it hasn't been well used. The other struggle I have and things that we need to keep in mind is just the flexibility. The OH is a static document. And once the OH is published, things change, especially when you have to submit your OH submission 3 months in advance. And then things change, and we've got to have I think the reason Facebook has become so prevalent is just, it's that instant, I can communicate to, for the census, 90% of our members use Facebook. And
right, that's correct. And I wouldn't say 90% of our members. 90% of the members that use Facebook, or a lot of the people who use Facebook really feel like it's most of the people that use Facebook, but I really don't think it's 90%. I think it's closer to like 60%.
Going on the SCA census survey, the SCA census, 90% of the people who respond to the census said they check Facebook for updates.
Well, I have to admit that's because the census was easy to find on Facebook. It wasn't really posted around.
Oh yeah, that was my question.
Bias.
Like, did it
that is bias.
Exactly.
It was like, did it get posted? Like, was it posted on the Kingdom webpage?
I don't think so.
Like, and that's, I think, like official things like that, especially the census, should go on the website.
So just oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Doing the schedule the way we did and having it from a Google Doc and being able to update that immediately was awesome. So like we had a password problem. It took, less than 5 minutes to get the information back up. So if we can have stuff that people can automatically on a website update and I know that the web ministers are working on that, that I think that would help a lot for things that change.
I'm not certain, like that might be a skill. I don't know how many web ministers have. Like, I don't know enough about web minister stuff. But I will admit, yes, what this stands for Seneschallate is going to be is that official information is going to be on the kingdom or the group website. We're going to do our best to find some sort of forum that will push update. But other than that, right now, Facebook is not official. We really need to put an effort into making sure we use the kingdom website or the group websites for the official information.
But the problem with using the website is it's funneled through one person.
Right.
And if that person is busy, the information doesn't get out there. So they really need to look at some way for an autocrat to be able to update through a form or something.
Well, so I know that's something that the web ministers are talking about today. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get that worked out before we start playing. And that's one of the big opportunities we have right now. But I don't know that it's the best for this group to discuss that, because I don't know if we necessarily have those technical skills, and the web ministers who do are discussing that. And I have a whole ton of other stuff to talk about. So unless we have any burning questions, I know it's a great topic. I could talk forever about it. So before our break, I was trying to bring up Teams, and I was going to show you folks what we developed in the South, and I want to share with the North. If you're not on this team, and Jethro hasn't sent me your email and I haven't been able to get it on, just PM me and I will totally put you on this team. So when you first log on, can you let me know when the screen comes up for you all? Okay.
It's up.
Yeah.
So when you first log on to the team's website, this is what it will look like. We have a general, it's a general is what it's called for some reason. And we have posts, files, a wiki, and a, thank you, Mr. Melodia, calendar. So the post is just basic chat. And I really think you ought to use this to communicate amongst the Seneschal. If you have a question and you just are, or you're looking for a group consensus or opinion, I really would like to see us all work together as a team. So I think this forum is great. If you need to discuss something with somebody and you find them online, you can go to, can you see my little cursor thing? You can go to this little button in the upper right corner. You can start a meeting with the other individual, and you can have a face-to-face meeting, or as face-to-face as we're going to get in this day and age. I think that this tool can be used really well. I think Mistress Melodia and we had some personality issues with some officers in another group. We used this tool, and I felt like it really helped them work out their issues. But I don't want you guys to wait till you have issues. I mean, if you just have questions or just want to talk about something, feel free to use this.
Where do you send a request to join this particular team?
DM me and I will add you. Just add me with whatever email address you use. So email me, the Kingdom Seneschal.
Be sure and use your Windows Microsoft login email. It's much easier.
Good catch. Thank you.
Yeah, right.
Or whatever email you usually use. That's
If you have
And
one.
you want this,
Yeah.
this isn't
Those
just
questions,
Southern.
that isn't going to work.
We had a whole bunch of people talking at once. Can I have one person first?
You want all Seneschals, not just Southern on this one? Because we got added to another.
Yeah, I think we can all share it. Don't you, Melodia?
Yeah.
I like the team.
So I think all Seneschals should be on this. That's why I changed the name to Outland Seneschals. And that way we can all share information and knowledge and chat. Next question.
Yes, I have one. Did I understand you correctly earlier that, like, say I wanted to have a talk with Alicia about something?
Yeah.
She and I could set up a meeting in
Yes.
here that was basically just she and I?
Yes.
Groovy.
Yes. You can hit this little
It's
meet
user
button.
friendly.
Yeah, you hit this little meet button and it'll start a conversation. And then once you get into that, I don't want to do that right now because I don't want to mess up Zoom.
Oh, yeah, no, but
But once you do that, you can say invite person. And so you invite them to your little meeting and then you have your powwow.
okay, and it could be even private between
Yes.
she and I or whatever.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and then if we needed you, we call you, ask you to come in and
Yes.
Yeah,
join
if
us
you
or
go
something.
into the chat
Yeah.
function on the side, you can have private conversations.
Right.
If you do it in this general post, anybody could join, but you can make a chat with anybody you want, multiple people, one person, whatever.
Right. And it can be video chat. Yeah. So it's great. I really feel in this time of COVID, we can communicate as a team and we can all be face to face and whatever timing, it works for everybody. Next question. Was that it? Okay. So that's the posts tab. And you know, like if you have a general question, hey guys, what do we do with waivers again? Or whatever, you can use this for that. And I check it occasionally. If it's urgent, please do still send stuff to the Kingdom Seneschal email. But if it's non-urgent and you want potentially other people's opinions, this is a great way to go. Posts, you can, so then the next tab is the files tab. Oh, was there a question?
Yeah, quick question on the post. Is there a way for it to push a notification to us if something gets posted?
Yeah, if you tag them, like if they're on this forum and you tag them, it will send them a notification.
Okay.
So the other thing is the files. Before I figured out what a wiki was, I started doing files. I used this file section and I uploaded this Kingdoms or the Seneschal checklist. I had at one point created it and it's now outdated. We'll try to update it as we can, but that just kind of is a checklist of things that Seneschals need to do monthly, annually for events. It really helps, you know, newer Seneschals figure out what they need to do. For instance, it states, hey, I need to send in my waivers, you know, for fighter practices or this far after an event. The next tab we have is this wiki tab. Now this is we've done a little bit more development on that. So there's this section under things Seneschals need to know. And now you don't have to memorize this stuff, but you really need to read it and be familiar with Outland's law, kingdom law, society law. You need to know financial documents. So here's the link to the financial documents. You should probably be familiar with the Seneschal handbook. Again, there's the link to it, the current link to it. Where to file your report. There's the link. Information about warrants and waivers. There's your link. And if you guys want more information or different types of information, we can post it here. And anyone can post to this. If you start abusing it, we might take away those permissions. But at this point, anyone, I gave everybody administrative privileges on this group. So anybody on this group can, if they find a document that's perfectly or particularly interesting or useful, they can post that link to it there, or they can download it to the files tab. And so then the final tab is the calendar tab. And, you know, we've got a very exciting calendar. We've got so many events coming up. But what we do have is Mistress Melodia put in when your reports are due, when your Southern Seneschal meeting is. I can come to this now and I can say, okay, so the Southern Seneschals are meeting on this date, I'll join them. Or if you want to put your local populace gatherings, I would like to see that in case I want to pop in. If you don't mind me joining you, that would be really cool. So do we have any questions about the Teams group? I'm hoping that this helps with communication. I felt when I was a Seneschal that I was kind of on my own, hanging out there, trying to make the best call. And I couldn't necessarily get answers right away. And I'm hoping that this can help with that feeling.
Totally agree.
So I hope this is a good tool. I feel like it can be used, and I hope you guys feel comfortable trying it out. So unless people want to look at this further, I'll stop sharing, and please just send me your email that you want to use and I will invite you to this.
So, Christine, I did send you my Microsoft email. I got an invitation from Jethro on the quite some time ago to join Teams, but have been having difficulty joining Teams from the Gmail account that the invitation was sent to.
Okay.
So hopefully that'll fix it.
See, I just have a Yahoo account and I have that signed up on Microsoft, so I didn't know this could be an issue. So we'll work through it. If you have issues, get on.
So Windows people that have Windows on their computer, that's when it's an issue, because you have whatever email is attached to that is what Teams will want to use.
Exactly
I was
right.
able
Yep.
to use my other one, but it was not easy. Oh, and there's Jethro.
Yeah,
Oh,
I have the
right.
same issues because I have a Gmail account that I use for my SCA stuff. And then I have my personal one, and I want the Teams to use my SCA stuff, but it wants to use my personal one instead.
Yes, that is the problem that I'm having.
I have managed to get it sorted out. I just have to sign back in a lot.
Okay, I'm just going to go over my notes real quick of things that I thought at the last minute I should go over with you folks. And I think we're getting close to everything that I had. Admittedly, it's kind of random and catch as catch can, because I feel like there's so many things that we need to start working on. We do have another half hour, and in that remaining, right, we have half an hour on the schedule? Okay, so in that remaining half hour, I wanted to go over one last thing with you folks. And then I wanted to create myself a to-do list of trainings that you guys feel would be useful. And hopefully we can start getting that out. Do you guys feel comfortable with that? Would that be a good use of our time?
Sure.
Okay. So the one thing I really wanted to go over with you, especially if you're a new Seneschal, is the order of precedence of our governing documents. So, I just showed you a whole list of governing documents that are up there on that wiki on Teams. So you know where the information is now. And they're also on the Kingdom and Society websites in various places, so you can look them up. But, since your main job is to be the interpreter of the law, you kind of need to know what order of precedence the law is. Hopefully we have very little conflicting law, but we might not. And that's another thing that I am hoping to do in my tenure as Kingdom Seneschal, is try to make sure we don't have any, or very many, if possible, major conflicts that I can foresee. But you might have a conflict in the law, and you might have to make a call at some point. So the order of precedence of SCA law starts with mundane law. That takes precedent over any SCA rule or policy whatsoever. Mundane law. And that's the big thing to remember. The next thing is the bylaws of the society. So as a society, we have bylaws, and that takes precedence over any kingdom law, corporate policy, corpora, anything. It's the bylaws of the society. And this can all be found in your Seneschal handbook. Corporate policy is the next thing. And then followed by corpora, because a lot of us think that corpora is the #1 governing document for the SCA. Followed by governing documents of the SCA.
Could you back up just a little bit? I
Yes,
missed.
And I can get you this list if you want it. So we have corpora. So we have mundane law. We have the corporate bylaws. We have the corporate policy. We have corpora. And then we have governing documents. And then we have the interpretations of corpora by the Society Seneschal. And that's one thing I have to admit I missed, and I had not gone over. And last night in a cram course, I went over that and took notes. So we also have the corporate officers policy, followed by, and here's the kingdom level policies, kingdom financial policy, which we are going through revision right now. So keep your ears out for revision of kingdom financial policy, and then kingdom law, followed by kingdom policy, followed by any decisions of the crown, and any kingdom officers policy or handbooks. And I know that's a lot of stuff to keep track of. I keep it in a notebook that I take with me to events, just to remind me what order things are.
Christine,
Yes,
can you post that list on the teams?
I can. Additionally, in case I space out, and please remind me, it is available in the Society Seneschal handbook. But I will put that on my to-do list so it won't get dropped. Where is my to-do list? So the other thing, so just because I was not familiar with the Society Seneschal interpretation of policy, is anybody else familiar with that? And would you like a just quick rundown, because I found it fascinating?
Yes,
I was
please.
not aware. Please run it down.
Okay, so the Society Seneschal policy states, and now I'm paraphrasing because it's pretty long written. No slaughtering of animals at an event. Do not slaughter animals at an event.
That before the event.
Yeah, it's not allowed at events. No hunting is allowed at events. No official SCA hunting. That
What
kind
about-
of makes sense.
Say, what about fishing? It says because Frog's been hosting that fishing
It
tournament
doesn't
at
say
Battlemore.
anything about fishing, and I don't know. Yes,
I
ma'am.
know that there's fishing that has happened at Lily's, so I think
That doesn't necessarily mean it's okay, but I imagine fishing's okay.
Fishing was allowed. I think that His Majesty Johann had gotten the okay last year at Battlemore.
Okay, cool. So you could probably argue.
I think if you're fishing with a rifle or an arrow, that probably is what they don't want.
Yeah. So yeah.
Notably, His Majesty did have to get the fishing license.
Yes, because that's mundane law.
Yes.
You need a license to hunt or fish because fish and animals are owned by the state, and that is permitted by the state Fish and Game Department. So mundane law trumps all SCA policy. That's the only, if you come out of anything with anything from today, that's what I want you know, and most of you probably really know that, and I'm just beating something to death, but it's important. So the other thing that is in the society seneschal interpretation of policy is they did an interpretation, and I found this particularly useful. Recently, or maybe not as recently for some folks, the BOD came out with a harassment and bullying policy. And when I was seneschal in Kyrgyzstan, we found that particularly difficult because there had been no interpretation of that policy, and it was worded rather vaguely, and I found it very difficult to arbitrate the law with various members of the populace, because they come to me and they would say, so-and-so is harassing me. You need to do something about it. And so that gets into a discussion of how to deal with difficult people. But I'll finish reading this and then we can get into that discussion. So harassment and bullying includes, there are 4 things: offensive comments that are directed to an individual. 2, displays of explicit images. 3, photographing inappropriately to abuse or harass someone. And 4, inappropriate physical contact. And that's it for the society seneschal policy interpretations. But I think that last one is very important given some of the issues we've had with harassment and bullying policy being misused. Because the harassment and bullying policy wasn't meant to harass people, it was meant to help make the SCA a more welcoming place. And I know a number of older peers that feel like it has been used as a witch hunt and to chase people out. And they're afraid that they're looking to get rid of everybody. And I think if that interpretation was more widely discussed, people would feel better about that. Anyway, so do we have any questions? Okay, sorry. So back to training, we have 15 minutes. What kind of trainings would you all, we have a super wide range of seneschals on this group. What kind of trainings would you guys like to see?
Event training.
So like an event steward training, or
Yes.
how an autocrat deals with, or I mean, how a seneschal deals with the event?
Specifically how a seneschal would deal with an event, I think, because of the group that we're in, but they kind of dovetail. So event stewarding is probably part of that, since you could be called at any time to step up and steward an event.
Yeah.
But a seneschal does have separate obligations that have to be taken care of before and after an
Yes.
event. So we could definitely have a training regarding seneschals and their role in an event.
Signing the event form, whether or not to give the
Permissions.
autocrat,
Mm-hmm.
you know, permission to sign contracts, things like that.
Yes,
Calling
sir.
sanction
What was that?
at an event when you have to pull sanction. Not that I've ever heard it happening, but
Yes, I have actually done it, and it's very clearly lined in the handbook as to how to do it. And we can definitely discuss that as part of that training.
What we talked about earlier about storage of documents and materials, how to dispose of them, and where they ought to go.
Okay, thank you.
How about a quick and dirty on the financial policy and things that can be approved and can't be approved?
Yes,
Like,
for
I
instance,
think we all know you can't buy booze for an event, but you
Right.
can buy booze for the kitchen.
Right.
That they can make coq au vin or whatever. So
I've done that or bought
Yeah.
the alcohol for the kitchen. Yeah.
and do you think we should make that after the new financial policy gets
oh
done?
yeah.
So yeah, we'll do that probably 2nd or 3rd. So expect that in March or April, maybe.
Yeah. Just the kind of questions that are likely to come up that you can have a quick answer for.
Okay.
And I don't know if any of us will need to do this, but Christine, something you mentioned that, you know, as local health orders allow small gatherings to resume, but Kingdom hasn't officially released that, is what the process would be for requesting a waiver to allow something like an archery practice to resume with small numbers or something along those lines is what like I said, I don't know if it'll be an issue, but it would be something that we should at least have in our pocket, I think.
Right. And Master Jethro, do you mind, aren't you in that reopening
Yes.
discussion?
Yes,
Could you
that's
bring that forward to the group? Because I would really like some discussion from that group on not only potentially how we're going to go about small gatherings or opening up small gatherings, but I would really like to see discussion of potentially reporting requirements and how to go about that.
Yep, that'll be that. There was an interesting thing brought up in Baron Devin's session about, are we going to require some kind of proof of vaccine or anything? So probably not, but that's an interesting question.
Yeah. Okay.
That will all be this afternoon, so we'll bring those up. Bring all your thoughts and questions then.
Well, we also have we have so many classes that are really good right now. Yeah, that would be great. Small gatherings. Okay. What else do we have that we feel like we'd like training on?
I've never done a Doomsday Report.
Reporting, and you
I
know
was
what?
just gonna say that. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Well, we should try to get that done
Soon.
soon.
Are
We'll
we
do our best.
doing a Doomsday Report this year?
You had events in January.
Yeah, I do think we're gonna need a Doomsday Report, at least to cross your T's and dot your I's. I mean, if you had absolutely nothing to report is legitimate.
I say Freya and Sabrina didn't, at least as far as when I asked them about a Doomsday, they told me no, just your monthly report. So that was, I haven't done one.
Really? Was that last year too?
Yeah, they told me they told me that I did not need to do it. They both told me that we didn't need Doomsday Report.
Oh,
I was also told I didn't need to do one last year.
well, I've always done a Doomsday Report. I'm sorry. It's not that difficult. I mean, it's really not. And, you know, even if it's nothing significant to report, please report nothing significant to report.
So it just would be probably helpful if you give us just a checklist of things that you would like covered, because
Okay, yes.
We haven't had to do one for the last couple Kingdom Centers.
Okay, we'll do that. And I don't know if you're available to join the Seneschal meeting that we've been having, or if we have one before Doomsdays are required. But I will, at the very minimum, because I don't know if we can schedule a meeting between now and then. At the very minimum, I will put a checklist up on that wiki on the Teams.
I do have a meeting scheduled for the 28th.
Awesome.
So if anybody wants to join, we can talk about that.
And so I'll try to get that to you before the 28th. In fact, I'll try to get you the information I'd like to see by the end of the week. And then if you have anything to add, please let me know. Because I'm going to be where I have no internet for like 3 weeks or 2 weeks. So, yes.
If you want to go a little more esoteric on kind of classes or trainings or conversations, perhaps, you know, dealing with the old guard, quote unquote, especially as we're bringing in newer members and newer officers, that there's definitely kind of like, well, this is the way it's done with some folks, and having those conversations can be challenging, especially if you feel like, you know, they have potentially political sway. And so maybe navigating that political arena would be a good conversation.
That is definitely a good conversation to have, but for now, your quick and dirty answer, and this is what I've used a million times. We are going, I know we like to do things based on tradition. However, we have a set of corporate policies and laws, and we need to go by the corporate policy and law that we have.
No, I absolutely agree. I was just trying to think of things that would be good.
Melody,
Yeah.
did you have something? You were waving your hands around.
I did. I just, because I've got a text or a message from Master Angus that just came out of the Seneschallate meeting. It would probably be helpful for us, especially where they're making some major changes to marshalling and the marshalling requirements, is at some point to maybe have a small summary, whether you do it or we get the Kingdom Night Marshal to do a quick summary to us as here are the things that you as Seneschals need to be aware of and help us keep track of. Because
Sure.
from what Master Angus just sent me a real quick summary, they've announced some major overhaul and modifications to the marshalling and to approvals and cards and
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff.
In fact, I think all marshal cards are going to be pulled right now.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I was gonna say, probably also have maybe like bring in the kingdom officer for each of the major, like the web minister, the marshal, so that the rest of the seneschals in the kingdom know, be like, oh, that's who that is.
Well,
Because
I have to admit, I will do my best. However, I have no sway really over them. The SCA is very, very stovepiped. And if they choose not to do that, they choose not to do that.
well, it's just like asking them to like, because we are a group that we love the SCA. Like having crosstalk is, I think, would help grow the SCA more. So hope as like possibly talk to them about it. That's all I'm like, I would like to see what they think on certain ideas. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if you have anything, you know, and you have try to develop a relationship with that other officer locally and have that discussion with them, and that can help too.
Well,
Well, it
and
would
along with
not
that, I think
It's okay, Adelaisa, go ahead.
we don't always know what's going on. Like our local officers may not be in the loop as much too. So having kind of the big picture on the Seneschallate.
We lost you there at the tail end of that.
That it would be.
It would be helpful to have it on the Seneschal Wiki.
Just to have those communication avenues like Kate was talking about, kind of a one-stop shop of here, let's talk about the web page this week, and here's what's going on, or here's the new things that are coming out, kind of. Because yeah, I think that crosstalk would be, I think we get even stratified. Here's what's happening at Kingdom, and it doesn't always filter down to the.
Okay. Carrick, did you have something?
No, not really.
Oh,
Other
it just
than some people
highlighted
might
you.
be in a telling the crown and coronet no kind of class.
Ooh, yes, I'm really good at that.
And when to say no. There are
When
times to say no and times to not say no.
Yeah.
That's right. When is it appropriate to say no, and how to say no and how you say no can be much more important than when you say no.
Is it illegal, immoral, or fattening? And you know that's Giovanni's standard answer. If it doesn't fall into one of those categories, it's fine.
You know, that's a good one. Fattening. My favorite.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, I was going to say, though, I wouldn't necessarily call it a class, but since we have the possibility that we'll be opening up for in-person events, I think if we could have some discussion about recruitment, and about bringing people back in that have let their membership lapse, and how to do some retention. Trying to think of the word that I want for it, but some
Yes.
remedial retention.
Right. Mr.
Work.
Shaloti, were you going to lead that discussion this afternoon? I can't remember who
No, that
was.
was me. So I was gonna say,
No, I
Winter,
think that was Jethro.
yeah,
that Jethro?
that's me.
I'm in social media.
Okay. Sorry. Can't
So
keep it
yeah,
straight.
Winter, you are gonna be at the one this afternoon then, right?
I will.
Okay.
All right. So there's going to be that discussion. And of course, we're recording because like I'm desperate to hear what people have to say on recruitment and retention. But I also feel like diversity and inclusion and bystander intervention training needs to be discussed. And just so you know, I am looking for spots to give this diversity and inclusion training. If your group is having a populist meeting and you can give me a 30-minute to 1 hour segment, I would really appreciate it.
Something that I've been getting from people is about the numbers. We all know the numbers are down.
Mhm.
We all know that. The bot has said they are not looking at numbers. Be sure and pass that down somewhat if anybody asks. I mean, I wouldn't say, oh no, you don't have to be a member because we still need members. But if anybody says, oh, we're not going to be a barony anymore, or, you know, or a shire or whatever, they're not looking at numbers right now. So just know that.
Yes, there's that. And I really honestly, I looked at the numbers last night because everybody's been freaking out about numbers. And we're only down like 300 and some. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. I thought it would be like, maybe we have 300 and some, but it's not that bad really, in my opinion.
The question on that is, will it be accelerating now that we've extended 6 months? So there are probably a number of people who renewed fairly recently. I mean, I renewed right before Crown so I could fight fully in Crown. That extends me for a while. Yep, still waiting to fight in Crown. So, you know, those numbers may accelerate. And whether that's an issue or not, yeah, something we'll discuss this afternoon.
Right.
Yeah, we are coming up on a year, so.
On the other hand, officers still need to maintain their membership. We have lost a number of seneschals through their inability to maintain, or maybe perhaps it might not be inability, but they did not maintain their membership. So officers need to maintain their membership. So we do have those folks. Thank you, by the way, for doing that. Okay.
Do officers still have to be at the higher level? Because currently, if correct me, doesn't Kapora say you just have to have access to the newsletter, and now everybody has access? So in theory, everybody can drop down to associate, I think, is or sustain, whatever the lower one is.
I don't know about that.
I think officers can have any level, actually. I don't think that's.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Okay.
specified anywhere, but I admittedly have not read it recently.
And unless it's changed, it was not specified.
Okay. Is there anything that you guys feel like we've got 4 more minutes? So is there anything you folks feel we've missed, we've left off, we haven't addressed, that you guys really have a burning question about or wanted to get out of this Seneschal discussion at StagsCon?
Whose curtains are those behind you? They're beautiful.
They're a group out at Penzic, and I can't remember the name, but they were interviewed on that TV show. Anyhow, it's a group in Penzic. It's a historically period camp. Everything in their camp has to be exactly period, even the inside of their tents. And they let everybody visit, and it's really beautiful.
Okay. Pretty
That's not the
curtains.
Enchanted Ground, is it? I don't
that
think so.
sounds-
No, it's
I
the
don't
Bell
think so.
Company.
It's a different group. It's like a 12, they do 14th century stuff and they're like a 14th century reenactor group. And
Okay.
I thought it was cool.
It's the Bell Company. It's my mistress's household.
Okay. Well, they do a really beautiful
Explains a
setup.
lot.
So, Alyssa, I'm loving your crafting. I'm not organized enough to do 50 days of ANS, but it's been fun to watch yours.
I needed to do something to get my butt back in gear.
Yeah,
So
I
is
need to
there
start
any
sewing
more,
too.
is there any more business? I think sounds like maybe we've talked ourselves out. Is there
Yep.
anything we missed from the chat?
Nothing that I've seen. Everybody's very jealous of Carrick's new deputy.
Yeah.
Best deputy ever.
Nah, I'm gonna be a horrible deputy because I'm gonna be like asking all the questions and be like, okay. And also be like, all right, what the hell is going
Hey,
on?
If you ask the questions, that means I have to know the answers, which is probably a good thing. So, go for it.
I'm also a really good schlepper, and if you guys need help with anything and I'm at the event, just grab me.
All right, so I'm going to stop recording if you think we're good on business
I
stuff.
think we're good. Please stop recording. Thank you.